This video will cover section 2.4 circles. As we know from our previous math classes, circles are this geometric shape with a center and an equal distance length, which we call as radius. So this is what a circle looks like. Circle has a very important point inside it that we call it a center. So this is a very important information for a circle equation. And then from center to any of its endpoints, this length is called radius. Now, what we need to know about circles is we have the standard form of the circles. Standard form for circle equation is, it will be represented as x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to a r squared. And here, the center of the circle will represent h comma k. The center will be h comma k. And here, r represents the radius. R represents the radius, and x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So for example, if we have an equation like x minus 2 to the second power, so this needs to be always squared per the formula, plus y minus 5 squared is equal to a 25. So for example, this equation belongs to a circle. So when I graph this will be a circle. And then for the graph of the circle, the center will be located at 2, 5. So when you graph the circle, you will make sure that this center is at 2, 5. And this represents r squared. So if r squared is 25, r will be equal to a 5. So from center to one of the endpoints, the distance will be 5. And this is how you handle the circle equations. So we're going to look at the assignment for circles right now and understand more items related to circles. This question number 1, we have a given graph of a circle, and they want us to find the center and the radius. So the center is always this middle point, and they already labeled this point in the on the graph. So the center, h comma k, h value is -3, and then the k value is -2, and this is the answer for part A. The radius, to find the radius, I need to look at the distance from center to one of the endpoints. So since they're straight, and this is a very nice circle, I can just count the distance. The distance is 1, 2, 3. And then I can also look at the difference between the x values, -3 and 0. That also gives me the 3. So the radius is 3. Now, if I have the hk value and the radius, I can put the standard form. Let's put the formula. The formula we need is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. This is called the standard form of a circle. So when I customize this formula for this given condition, equation is going to start with x minus h value is -3, y minus k value is -2, plus it and square it is equal to, and r is 3 squared. So here 2 negatives will create a positive, so this will be x plus 3 squared. So this will be just x plus 3 squared. So this is just going to simplify to x plus 3 squared. Here again, 2 negatives will create a positive. So instead of having 2 negatives, I can simply organize them as y plus 2 to the second power is equal to 9. So on the homework, this last space that they want me to enter will be x plus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared is equal to, and 3 squared is 9. That's the answer they expect me to put on the last part of number 1. For question 2, write the standard form of the equation and the general form of the equation of the circle, whose radius is 1 and center is at 0, 0. Then graph the circle. Okay, so first the standard form. So the formula for standard form is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So let's just label this A, and then this will be A. And then they told me that h is 0, k is 0, which is very nice, and it makes my job super easy. So I need x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared. And then the r value is given as, but I need 1 to the second power here due to formula. And subtracting 0 from x doesn't really change anything, so this simplifies to just x squared. And then this simplifies to a y squared, and 1 squared is still a 1. So the first blank on the homework for this question, they want me to put x squared plus y squared is equal to a 1. The general formula is the same as standard formula here, since there's nothing to expand and organize the like terms. So when the h and k value is 0, general form and standard form, they match exactly the same. Now we're going to use the graphing tools on my MathStack to graph this circle. Because the center is at 0, 0, so first we're going to locate the center. It is at 0, 0, and the radius is 1. So I'm going to have to count 1 equal distance for each direction from the center. So 1 distance to the right is over here. 1 distance above the center is here. 1 distance to the left is here. 1 distance bottom is here. So basically, when I connect these 4 points, this will be the circle graph that I need for question 2. Now for question 3, we're going to write the standard form of the equation and general form of the equation of the circle with radius r and center is hk, then graph the circle. So radius is 2 and hk is -2, 0. We want to find the first standard form. Again, so let's label this A. For A, we need to use the same standard form formula, which is x minus h to the second power, y minus k to the second power. This is equal to r squared. And then x minus h value is -2, so it's going to change it to a +2 here. And then y minus k value is given as 0. And then r value is 2 squared. So if I organize my final answer for this box, what they want me to input here is x plus 2 squared plus, when you subtract 0 from y, you just simply end up with y squared is equal to 4. This is what you get for part A. For part B now, we are going to change this to a general form. Changing this to a general form means I need to expand x plus 2 to the second power. So if you cannot expand x plus 2 to the second power in your head, you should just take the x plus 2 and multiply it by itself. This is what x plus 2 to the second power means. And then you can use the FOIL method. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 2 times x is 2x. And then 2 times 2 is 4. And then if you organize the like terms, this will become x squared plus 4x plus 4. This is what you get for x plus 2 to the second power. So this one will give me x squared plus 4x plus 4. And then this is already just y squared is equal to 4. Now the general form is x squared will stay, y squared will be coming next to this person. And then we already have a 4x. And we have the 4 here. And then we will bring this 4 as -4 to the other first side and set our equation to 0. And simply this +4 and -4 cross out. And then the answer I can put on the second empty space will be x squared plus y squared plus 4x is equal to 0. What I need to put for part B, because +4 and -4 cancel out. Now it is time to graph this circle on this given graph. I'm going to use the given center, -2, 0. X value is -2, y value is 0. So this is the center. Now, from center, we need to count 2 distance each direction. So this is the center, 2 units up, 2 units here, 2 units down, 2 units left. So from the center, we are equal distance in every direction. So when I now connect these points, this is how I am going to graph number 3 here. For question 4, again, we have a similar question. HK value is given, radius is given. They want the standard form, they want the general form, and we're going to graph the circle. So let's set up the standard form as our starting point. Formula for standard form starts with x minus the h value, and h value is given here -4 squared plus, and then I need y minus k, and k value is 3 to the second power is equal to r squared, and r is 5 to the second power. Then these two negatives will become plus, so it's going to be x plus 4 to the second power. And then this one will be y minus 3 to the second power. And then this will be a 25. This is how we can put the standard form into very first box here. Now we're going to have to expand these to find the general form. And as I showed you on the previous question, you can definitely write these next to each other and then FOIL them. But I'm going to do this in my head, or I'm going to use the shortcut. Shortcut is square the first one, x squared. Multiply these two and then multiply them by 2. So x times 4 is 4x, times them by 2, it's 8x. And then 4 squared is 16. I'm going to apply the same formula for y minus 3 to the second power. Square the y, it becomes y squared. Multiply these two and then double them. So y times -3 is -3y. Double them, that's a -6y. And then square the -3, that's going to be a +9. I need to move the 25 to the first side as -25, so I can set this to a 0. General form is always equal to 0. If we organize it now, x squared stays, y squared will be moving right after x squared. Then we have an 8x, then we have a -6y. And then when I combine +16, +9, and -25, 16 plus 9 is 25, 25 minus 25 is a 0. And then this whole thing will be set to a 0 now because they all clear out. And then this answer will go to the second box. Now, when I need to graph the circle, I want to use the original given information. Center is at -4, 3. So I need to locate -4 and +3. This is the center. And then the radius is 5. So from the center, I need to count 5 units up, 5 units left, 5 units down, and 5 units right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're just going to connect these dots. And then this will be the graph of the circle. Now for question 5, we have the general form of a circle given as x squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 2y minus 6 is equal to 0. Now, from the general form, we are going to find the standard form so we can find the center and the radius. And then we're going to graph the circle, and then we're going to find the x-intercept and y-intercept if there is any. So this is going to be a little bit tricky because now we have the general form, and we want to organize it in a way that we can find the center. Okay, so I think I want to just copy this at the bottom of the page. They have more room to show our proper work. So we're going to just find the copy this, and then we're going to go to the end of the documents. Then just we're going to place it here so we can have the enough space to show work. So we know that this is called general form, and there's a way to organize this to a standard form. To do this, I will take the x squared. After x squared, I will need the -6x. And on purpose, I will leave a blank, and you're going to understand why I'm creating a space here. Next, we have the y squared, and then y squared will be followed by 2y, and then we will need a space. And then this number here at the end, -6, will be copied to the other side as +6. So I have x squared minus 6x plus a space, y squared minus 2y plus a space, and then we send the negative 6 to the other side as positive 6. We will have to complete them to a perfect square trinomial to be able to factor this. So the way we're going to handle and we're going to find the missing numbers here is we will always take this number in the middle and we will cut it in half. So 6 will be divided by 2, which is a 3. And then we're going to square this number, which will create a 9. And I will need a 9 here to make this a perfect square trinomial. Since I put a 9 to the equation from nowhere, to balance it, I have to copy the same number to the end of the equation. So that's how we're going to always make these a perfect square trinomial. The reason I did all this, because now I can factor this trinomial as x and minus, and this is 3 to the second power. So this is my x squared, this is my 3 squared. In the middle, remember how we multiply them, then we double them? It's right here. Similarly, I need to find the missing number here. The number I have is 2. I will cut it in half, which will give me a 1. Then I will square the 1, and then it will be still a 1. So the missing number here is 1 to make it a perfect square trinomial. That means I will also need to add a 1 here to balance the equation. Now these 3 will be factored as y minus, and this is 1 to the second power, equals. Here, if we add all these numbers we got, we will get 16. Now this equation has a standard form, which is very nice, and we have the center and we have the radius. So the center of this circle will be 3, 1. This is the center, 3, 1. And because r squared is 16, r is 4. The center is 3, 1, and r is 4. That's what it goes to this question. We skipped to open space to become 1 and this question. So we put this as x minus 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to 4 squared. Or you can just put 16 here. Like this is the standard form we got here. So first they want the center. Now we have it in standard form. H value is 3, K value is 1. So the center will be 3, 1. And because radius is this number here, so r squared is 16, so that makes our r to be 4. Now we're going to use graphing tool to graph this. Center is 3, 1, 3, 1. So from the center, we're going to count 4 units right, 4 units up, 4 units left, 4 units down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to connect them. This is how we get the graph of the circle. Now they want the intercepts here. I see that this circle crosses with the x-axis 2 times, and it also crosses with the y-axis 2 times. But instead of guessing these points from the graph, I would like to show the work as we learned in the first lesson, 2.2 intercepts lesson. If I set x to be a 0, 0 minus 3 is -3, and -3 squared is 9, plus y minus 1 squared is equal to a 16. And then I can organize this. Y minus 1 squared is equal to 16 minus 9 is just 7. So y minus 1 will be plus and minus square root of 7. Then we take the square root. So y will be equal to, if I add 1 to both sides, that means this circle is going to have 2 y-intercepts. So it's crossing with the y-axis 2 times. 1 is going to be at 1 plus square root of 7. So we express the y-intercept. When x is 0, we got 1 plus radical 7. And the other one is 0, 1 minus radical 7. Similarly, we will find now the x-intercepts by setting the y to be a 0. So now when I set y to be a 0, in this equation, it's easier, but if you want to use this one, you can also use this one. It's up to you. Maybe this one will be easy because when I set this y to be a 0, this disappears, and I just get x squared minus 6x minus 6 is equal to 0. It's not that easy because then I have to use quadratic formula to find the roots here. So I changed my opinion. I'm going to still use the standard form to find the x-intercepts here. So we set y to a 0. Instead of using the given equation, we're going to use the standard form we got here. So x minus 3 squared stays with me. But since I'm placing a 0 for y, 0 minus 1 is negative 1, and negative 1 squared is just positive 1, and that's a 16. So this one is x minus 3 squared is equal to a 15 when I subtract 1 from each side. So x minus 3 will be equal to plus and minus square root of 15 because we have to take the square root of each side. So x will be equal to 3 plus and minus radical 15 as the x-intercept. So the x-intercept is, one of them is 3 plus radical 15 comma 0. And the last one will be 3 minus radical 15 comma 0. And that's what you put here for question 5. And for question 6, we're going to repeat this one more time. And we have the general form. We want to organize it to find the standard form so we can locate the center and the radius. Then we will graph the circle and we will find the intercepts. So I think you guys got the idea about graphing, and it's kind of easier to graph here with my method. I was going to get rid of this section, but I don't think that I know how to write out this section. Anyway, so we're going to just copy the problem, and then we're going to bring it to the end of the document. Okay, so here, this is this general form, and we're going to put this in standard form. As we see on the previous problem, we will need x squared. After x squared, we need to copy the minus 8x, and then we will leave a space on purpose. Plus, then I will have the y squared, and I'm going to copy the minus 4y, then I will leave a space on purpose. This negative 16 goes to the other side as positive 16, and this is my starting point to change this general form to a standard form. We need to find the missing numbers we need here. I have an 8 here. I'm going to cut the 8 in half, which gives me a 4. And then we're going to square the 4 and it gives me a 16. So I will need a 16 here for the first part to make it a perfect square trinomial. Similarly, here, I have the 4. I'm going to cut it in half. That's a 2. And then we're going to square it and it will become a positive 4. So I will need a positive 4 here. But what I have to be super careful is, if I added 16 to the equation from nowhere, I have to remember to add it on the right side of the equation to balance it. Similarly, if I added 4 to the equation from nowhere, I have to just make sure that I add the same 4 to the right side of the equation to balance it. It is time to factor each part. This will be factored as x and minus, and this is 4 to the second power. Here, I have y minus, and this is 2 to the second power. 16 plus 16 is 32. 32 plus 4 is 36. So that means the center is 4, 2. And then this is r squared is 36. That makes my r value to be a 6. And when you graph this circle, first you're going to find 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So this will be your center. And from your center, you're just going to count 6 units up, 6 units left, 6 units right, 6 units down. Or there's an easier way to graph this on MyMATLAB. Now, MyMATLAB only wants you to show the center at another point, then it'll draw the circle for you. Now we're going to have to do some extra work to find the intercepts. So for intercepts, I am going to still use this organized version. So if we set y to be a 0 to find the x-intercept, I will get x minus 4 squared plus 0 minus 2 is negative 2, and negative 2 squared is just positive 4, is equal to 36. So that makes my x minus 4 squared to be a 32. I can solve this quadratic equation by taking the square root on each side. So x minus 4 is plus and minus square root of 32. You need to know how to simplify this radical, because this radical simplifies to this is 16 times 2. 16 goes outside as 4, and then the 2 stays here. So the x-intercept will be 4 plus and minus radical 4 radical 2. So these two are going to create your x-intercept. Similarly, now when I set x to be a 0, 0 minus 4 is negative 4 squared is 16. And then this is 1 minus 2 to the second power, and that's a 36. And then y minus 2 to the second power is 20 when we subtract 16 on both sides. So y minus 2 is equal to plus and minus square root of 20. So y minus 2 is equal to, this is 2 radical 5. And then when I add the 2 to both sides, the y-intercept, we're going to have two y-intercepts. One of them will be 2 plus 2 radical 5, and then the other one is going to be 2 minus 2 radical 5. And this is how you're going to handle question 6 on the homework. Okay. The last problem on the homework is they want the standard form of the equation of the circle with endpoints of the diameter at the points 9, 6 and negative 1, 8. Let's visualize what this is. We have this circle. We don't know much about this circle, but we know that the diameter is the longest line in the circle which passes through the center. The question says that one of the endpoints on the diameter is 9, 6, and then the other one is negative 1, 8. So we're going to find the equation of this circle, and we will put the equation in standard form. But as you know, standard form is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So I need the center because h and k, they come from the center of the circle, and it is missing here. The way we're going to find is we're going to apply the midpoint formula, because the center will be the midpoint between these 2 points. And then the midpoint means we will add the x values and divide them by 2. Then we will add the y values and divide them by 2 to find the midpoint. So negative 1 plus 9 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 8 plus 6 is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So the midpoint is 4, 7. So that means h value will be 4, k value will be 7. So if I start typing my answer, I've got so far x minus 4 squared plus y minus 7 squared, but I still don't know what the radius is. To find the radius, I need the distance between from my center to one of the endpoints. So now the center is not a puzzle anymore. Center, we know that it is located at 4, 7. So if we apply the distance formula between the center, and the center is 4, 7, and one of these endpoints, 9, 6, I will be locating the radius. So the radius will be the distance between these 2 points. And the distance formula is x2 minus x1 squared, and then y2 minus y1 squared. And then we'll just have to simplify this. This is 5, and then square root 25. This is negative 1, square root positive 1. And then the distance is just square root of 26. That is my r. So I need square root of 26 here, but then I have to square it for the equation of the circle. So the last question, the expected answer will be x minus 4 to the second power, and then y minus 7 to the second power, and then the 2 cancels the radical, and we just get 26 here as the last answer. This will be expected answer for number 27, and this concludes section 2.4.